Hello everyone, it's Dominic Weber with K&D Financial, and today I want to bring you a special report on why we never follow the news. So the S&P dropped 1.45% today. It was a pretty ugly looking day for the most part, and I'm going to talk about why this happened and what's going to happen next. Before we get started, I got to go over my disclaimer, which is very unique and you'll actually want to listen to. Why? Because it says, don't do what I do and don't follow my trades. Now, a lot of other people tell you, oh, this is for educational purposes, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this because the chances are you're not a trader. Chances are you're an investor and you may be interested in trading, but you probably haven't put the time and the effort in that it takes years and years of patience and practice to become a trader. And we're going to go over a little bit more of this later. But let's get back to the S&P. So this morning at about 6:25 a.m., I was talking to my friend, and you can read this if you want. I'm the one on the right in the blue. And he mentioned, the market's pulling back and because of a psychopath dropping nukes. And I was like, oh, that's what's going on. I had absolutely no clue why the market was, pulling back this way right now. I didn't know anything about the news, but I knew the market was going to pull back. In fact, on July 31st, we sent out a weekly update to our members telling them that a pullback was probably coming and the reasons for it. Now let's go over exactly what I was talking about in that weekly update. So here's the S&P 500 and here's the pullback we had. And lo and behold, guess what? Oh, look, I was short 2 contracts and I'm up $2,500 right now. Now, here's the interesting thing on this. If you look at when I got into these contracts, you'll see here on 7/27 is when I placed the order for these 2 S&P trades. That means I was expecting this to happen for quite some time now, a couple weeks. And you can see, once again, if we go back to this chart, I got this line drawn right here. And that was my line in the sand where I said, if we go below this point, I'm going to short one. And then if actually we kept going, I'm going to short another. And it picked up both and it kept on going. But that's all you can do trading. You can never know 100% if something's going to happen. You put out a theory and you say, this is what I think is going to happen. And if it happens, great. And if it doesn't, doesn't. That's exactly what our algorithm does. It puts out a theory that says, are we going to pull back? If we pull back, we're going to rise back. We have an 82% chance of winning trades when we use our algorithm. But this isn't our algorithm. This is a lot more complex than that. And here's what I'm talking about. You can see here, for starters, I see a major divergence between the Progo. It's been coming down for most of 2017 while the price has been going up. You can also see here that it continues on. We have on-balance volume in the pink, and you can see on-balance volume since about June hit a high and then made a lower high here where price kept on going up. Same thing with insider accumulation, a high, then a lower high here, price kept on going up. Then on a weekly chart, same thing, insider accumulation. It's been sloping down, 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 trending down since, before April here, while price has been going up. All of these were red flags to me that something wasn't right. Now, further indication on this is a 5-minute chart. This 5-minute chart, you can see the volume down here is during the day, and you can see this white line I drew where that was our average volume. And here's our brutal day today. Here's the day before. Here is the day before that. We had this major surge to new all-time highs right here and here. You have these big surge. But look at the volume. Remember that white line I drew before? Look at how little the volume is through here. So I said to myself, as it was rising, I was like, that's interesting. There's really no volume behind this huge surge up. People are just buying more and more and more expensive, but there's no real volume behind it. They're just, people are selling at higher and higher prices and people are buying for no reason. And sure enough, we had a big pullback. And you can see what happened on a daily chart is that resulted in this very bearish outside down day where we came up, came back down and closed below these lows. So that's where I knew that there was a good chance. And in fact, what happened, you can see that triggered that white line here. That triggered my first contract. And I was actually down $600 yesterday on this contract. And then today, obviously, I've recouped a lot of that. One of the other reasons I was looking at that day 2 days ago where we pushed all the way up to new all-time highs is I was looking at the ticks and they got to 600, but that's not indicative of the price surging the way it did. That was another red flag and I was just like, this doesn't seem right. And sure enough, the rest of the day, bam, 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 we sold off hard. Now we see today, see the vol spread just selling all day long on this, this day. It's just a brutal sell-off. So I've tried to match these up for you here, and you can see here's the S&P on the top, and here's what we call the advanced decline line. And this is something I showed all of our members weeks ago in the weekly update, and how we keep bouncing off this line, and it's okay as long as we're bouncing off this line. If we break this line, things could get ugly. So sure enough, you can see kind of the dates match up. Here's May, here's May. It needs to be about right there. You can see it's lined up. And you can see every time we have a pullback and we kind of bounce along, bounce along, bounce along, pull back, bounce along. And then look what happened today. Ouch, we broke through it. We broke through it good. So the question then becomes, is this the end? So as you can see here, we got a buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Our algorithm's been rock solid all year long. We haven't had a single losing trade. And are we at another buy point? Well, that's for our members to know, and we're going to tell our members this evening if they should buy or if we're going to wait another day. But what's really hard here to understand for most people is the news doesn't matter. It looks ugly. This is when everyone is terrified of buying because they think it's going to keep going. We've had members repeatedly tell us that they didn't take the buy signal because they were sure this was the time it was all going to come crumbling down. Sure enough, the S&P is a mean reverting market with an 82% chance of us making money on our trades. So back to this disclaimer. Like I said, every indicator out there is built off of price action. So unless you understand all these things and how they all work together and how they're all built off price action, chances are you're not ready to be a pro trader. But that's exactly why we created the K&D system. The K&D system is an algorithm that gives you rock solid statistics knowing exactly when to trade, exactly when the market's going to go down, and you have an 82% chance of success using the algorithm to trade. And it's all about creating little base hits that win time and time again. What I showed you today was trades that were swinging for the fences, and I do not recommend them to most people. But it shows you what we need to do to create the algorithms. We have to know how to do all this stuff in order to create algorithms that are this rock solid and this stable. So I encourage you to go ahead and sign up at knd.com. You can register there, and I'll see you inside the program.